Hey guys, it's Taylor or TA1K here. I'm just gonna move this glass really quickly so that it's not as ugly and in the frame. The reason I have the camera angled like this in such a weird angle is because if I don't, the light is gonna lens flare and it's really annoying. It's already kind of doing it right here, but there's nothing I can do to help it. Anyway, I just want to make a quick silver video really quickly, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just speaking about why you should buy silver and other tangible metals that you can hold, such as gold, platinum, whatever else you can think of. And what I mean by tangible is things that you can own in your house and keep with you, not stuff that's virtual like bank accounts. And bank accounts aren't virtual, so to speak, but what I mean by that is how we have the new generation of checking and savings accounts where everything is able to be bought through a credit card or debit card. That's what I'm talking about. Or cryptocurrency, which I'm kind of on the fence about, honestly, with cryptocurrency, but I'll explain that later on in the video. So mainly, my first point that I wanted to talk about was silver pricing and why it's probably best to buy silver over every other metal, which actually I will talk about more in depth in the next video. If you guys want to check that out, there'll be a link in the description as to why you should buy silver instead of gold, so forth. But this is just a most recent one that I can see as it forecasts December 2018, which is coming up next month. So this helps me the most, this map. There's a bunch of maps on the internet, you can look it up. Just look up silver pricing or whatever. But this is over the last over 100 years, and this is explaining how the heights and the lows happen and like the drops. And as you can see, with this is how silver works. It rises and falls, then it peaks, and then it falls, and it peaks, and so on and so forth. It starts low and ends up high. And why this is because every time it peaks, it raises just a teeny bit from the last point, you see? So I'm sure there's going to be another huge drop at some point. And this is just my opinion, because if you're looking at the statistics, it raises really high and falls and raises really high and then falls really low. And right now, as of recently, it's kind of stayed pretty high up here, which is the highest it's been in a while. So what I think is going to happen, guys, is I think that it's going to fall from here and pick back up in several years, which is why I keep saying that silver is not a flip process. You have to hold on to this stuff for a really long time in order to actually make your profit. That's why it's like a savings account instead of a checking. In a checking, you just put your money in there so that you can pull it out later and maybe gain some interest. That's not what this is. This is a profit, and the best way to get your profit margin is to wait, because you have to just wait it out. There will be times when it'll go low and people will make fun of you for buying silver. Just wait. According to statistics, it peaks and falls, and every time it falls, the fall is a little bit higher than the last time it fell. Excuse me. Like this. So it'll eventually end up here, but it started down here. That's just my piece of evidence. The next place I wanted to choking on my words. The next thing I wanted to get into really quickly was why you should buy tangible objects. It's amazing because you own this stuff. You hide it in your house. No one can take this stuff away from you. This is in your house. This is in a safe or wherever you want to hide it. You don't even have to own a safe, which is the best part. Literally anywhere you can think to hide it. You can hide it in like one of those fake wall outlets that you pull out, you put your stuff in, you close it up and it looks like a wall outlet. Hide it in one of those. Hide it in a box. Hide it in a sock drawer. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of it. You know, eventually once you gain a lot, you're going to have to buy a safe, because otherwise there's no way you're going to hold several pounds of silver in a sock drawer, obviously. But safes are still a good thing to have in general, because even if you're just not, like, even if you did just buy it for gold or silver, You can also store other things, other valuables, such as like family heirlooms, guns, and such in that safe. So it's just useful in general. Anyway, that was just talking about storage. Going forward as to why you should buy tangible objects. So, silver is good because it's cheap right now. And that's really useful because as it's cheap, you can get a lot compared to gold. Gold is in like the $1,500 price range right now, and silver is about $15. That's like 1/100th or 1,000th. Excuse me, I can't do my numbers in my head right now. It's too late. But I'm sorry for looking dumb right there. But it's a fraction of what gold is at right now. So that means that you can stockpile a lot of silver in comparison to stockpiling gold. And I'm not saying gold isn't good to buy, because it is more valuable in the eyes of the people. But silver is still a good investment because you can get a lot of it and wait until the price goes up. As it more than likely, showed by statistics, it will. So, that wasn't really a part of what I was even talking about, but I just thought that it was still something good to bring up. Anyway, I'm just going to get to my main point of this video. This is in your house. Something you can hide away. Something that you can own. And no one can go in and take it from you unless you're robbed. But what I mean by this, and I don't mean, no one can come into your house and take it, because I mean they can. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you invest your money into banks, into cryptocurrency, into whatever else you're investing it in, the government has a say in what portion they can take from that, because they can raise or lower taxes, they can raise and lower interest rates, they can print new money, which decreases the value of the US dollar, and it's been proven that they've done that, and there's literal speeches where they say that they're printing new money in what I believe is the Bush presidency, and I believe they did it somewhat in Obama as well, but I really don't know. I'm just learning about this stuff recently, but the US dollar is depleting, people. Look at statistics. I don't actually have one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up something real quick. So I'm sure that there will be a lot better ways to look at this. But in every single one, as you can see, I don't know what this one is. This is okay, anyway, whatever. I didn't really read what that was. But as you can see, over time, the US dollar in its worth is depleting. As every year goes by, the buying power is less and less. This is this is the dollar that's what that was. That was the dollar to peso. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about actual trading. If you're buying in other countries, yeah, it might be going up in price. The dollar might be going up because all currency is going down, I believe, in value. But the US dollar in particular, because, as you can see, $1 US goes down to less than 20 cents as compared to what it used to be in 1913. If you don't believe me, do some research on it, look it up. It's worth a fraction of what it is now. And that's just how it's going, because of the fact that we can print new money and that all these different taxes and all this different stuff is being placed on our money that we're making with our own hard work. Okay, that was a little bit of a side tangent, but it wasn't really, because also that has relation to what you're buying. Instead of investing your dollars, your US dollars, into more US dollars that you just put somewhere else, what I mean by this is investing it into a bank account that will maybe gain a little bit of interest. For every amount of interest that you gain, the taxes will take more than that interest. So it doesn't even matter. You're not even making money. You're actually losing money by putting it into a savings account. Even though it looks like, oh, I made a penny. I made 2 pennies on my, $100 or whatever you have in there. because you make like a 2 to 3% whatever increase or something. No, it's 0.02 or 0.03, something like that. Interest rate. It's really stupid. But anyway, as you go into debt, the debt percentages of what's the word? I just said it. So anyway, I'm sorry, I had to think of the word. Debt. Wait, I just forgot again. What was I gonna say? Debt interest rates actually increase way faster. I think the debt is actually gaining almost exponentially with interest rates instead of how the interest rates in bank accounts work, where it just goes a little bit at a time. It's really stupid, and the interest rates on debt is a lot higher than the ones that you make in the bank. But when you invest in something such as silver or gold or whatever other precious metal, you're actually putting it into something that won't go up and, well, it will go up and down in value, but it's not a downward slope as the US dollar has been. And besides, something that's just something to think about, this society that we live in is so technologically biased. I don't think that that's the right way to say it. I think that the society that we live in bases their entire world around society, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it's placing us in the future. But at the same time, it's also very stressful, because say that there's a time where every server that has internet or is hooked to internet or whatever other banking systems are hacked, and we fall into another crash in the economy. This is a huge issue, because say something happens, say a virus is created and it takes down an entire mainframe of like bank servers. People are going to be freaking out because they can't find their bank account information, and we're going to have something like that happen in, I believe, like 1927. I believe that's the date, where they had a huge crash in the stock markets, and people went crazy and started rushing banks, trying to get their money out of the banks. It was called the bank runs. And they were in 1927, I believe that's the date. Don't quote me on that. I did some research beforehand, but I can't remember the exact date because I'm not good with dates. But needless to say, there was a time in history where something like this happened, and there were hundreds of thousands of people rushing banks around the United States, trying to get their money, as much money as they can, out of the bank, and protesting because that's where they invested all their money. And there was a lot of time during the Great Depression where people were actually hiding their money instead of investing in banks because they were scared it was going to happen again. I think that's what we should be doing right now, because it could happen again, but that fear is gone all of a sudden. When actually it might be even more likely to happen now that we're all technologically based instead of having real money in a vault. If that makes sense. I mean, we still have money in a vault, of course. I'm sure banks still have cash, but slowly the use of cash is disappearing, and we have these debit cards that we use almost solely instead of actual paper money. And that's insane. So something like that happens, metaphorically. People will start rushing the banks. People are causing chaos and rioting, especially in this day and age, because people didn't do that as much, but they're doing that now over like subjects that don't even have to do with economic status at this point. Most of the time, people riot over race and discrimination. And if you think that those riots are bad right now, see what happens when people are losing money, thousands of dollars, upwards of millions of dollars, because they lost all their money because they invested it into a technology based bank. And people are going to be rioting and going crazy. And do you think that the banks are going to be able to have that much cash money to give out to all those people that are rushing the banks? No, they aren't. And that's the scary thing. people are going to start going chaos. Like, it's going to be chaos, and people are going to start stealing things from each other and rioting, as I've said before. And another thing, people, safe deposit boxes in the banks aren't safe either. They don't have the right to drill into the boxes or anything like that. But what's to prevent them from doing it in a time where the economy's crashed and there's no more rules, so to speak? Of course there's still rules, but how are they going to enforce it? They're not going to be able to enforce it. It's going to be chaotic. And plus, there's already instances of safe deposit boxes being just disappearing. The content's disappearing. Look up in the news. I read a recent article, like literally 2 days ago, of the Bank of America safe deposit boxes. Someone's contents were just disappearing. And the bank didn't do anything about it. They had no clue what was going on. They literally were like, oh, well, sorry, here's like a little bit of financial compensation. But I don't even think that it was the bank that gave them the financial compensation. I believe that it was the insurance company. So what is to prevent these contents from disappearing? You can just drill a safe deposit box and you'll be able to get everything inside of it. In a time of chaos, when people are rioting and protesting, and there's just, insanity everywhere, what's to prevent people from just going in there and just taking all the belongings and bartering them? Things are going to be scavenged, people. It's not just going to be take what's yours, it's going to be take what's yours and then take some more. And that's why I'd rather stick in a world where I'm safe in my own home with my own economy, just security, economic security in metals. And the reason that I say that this is safer is because people are going to try to break into your homes and try to steal things, perhaps in a world where it's post-technology and all that, and people are losing money. But if you're safe and you have a safe, and you just, you play your cards right, and this is like worst comes to worst, folks. This is like a Mad Max situation. It's not going to happen like this, more than likely. More than likely, what's going to happen is there's going to be an economic crisis in the United States, where the debt just keeps piling up. We're in the trillions right now, which, by the way, isn't like a 1 or 2 trillion. It's way too high for what the United States can handle right now. Okay, and eventually it's going to reach its tipping point. We're going to have an economic crisis. And when that happens, people are going to start turning to tangible objects instead of fake currency on the internet that you can look at on your phone. You pull up on your phone, you look at your bank statement, see how much money is in your savings and checkings account. It's worthless. That's not in your hand. People are going to start wanting something that they can hold, something that they can keep on them for security, and be able to sell later. And when that happens, when technology takes it one step too far and people start doubting that technology and people start turning to this stuff, people are going to start wanting, the demand is going to go super high and the supply is low. Okay? When the demand is high and the supply is low, do you know what that means? That means that the price goes way up because people are willing to pay however much money it takes for economic security. Okay? This $15 coin, this isn't $15 actually. This one right here is $15. This is the Liberty Bell. I've showed you this multiple times. Okay. This coin, this $15 coin, could be upwards of $1,500, if not more. $15,000, which obviously isn't going to happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think that probably what's going to happen is this going to be $150 or more, depending on what happens in the future, what the circumstances are for the future. But this is going to actually go up in price quite a bit. Okay. That's pretty much all I have to say right now, guys. This is just my rant. Once again, it's a 20-minute video. I'm so sorry that I keep making these really long videos, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and you guys take some of my advice. And in the next silver video, I'm going to be talking about why I would recommend buying silver over gold, which is kind of controversial, but I'd still recommend it. And yeah. thank you guys for watching. If you guys are enjoying this, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Watch my other silver videos as well. I hope that they give you some insight as to economy. Thank you guys.